verses 163 and 164. After the passing of the teacher, pray tell me who will be the bearer of the Mahayana. O Mahamati, thou shouldst know that there will be one who bears the Dharma when some time has passed after the Sugata's entrance into Nirvana. So Mahamati is concerned here about the continuation of the teaching. And the Buddha, who refers to himself here as the Sugata, makes a prophecy. And we should be very skeptical about this. The Buddha wasn't really given to prophecies, although there are one or two other instances where he did so. I think it's generally understood that the next verse refers to Nagarjuna, who's a legendary figure. But let's just have a look at it first of all. Verse 165. In Vedali, in the southern part, a Bhikshu most illustrious and distinguished will be born. His name is Nagahvaya. He is the destroyer of the one-sided views based on being and non-being. And this continues into verse 166. He will declare my vehicle, the unsurpassed Mahayana, to the world. Attaining the stage of joy, he will go to the Land of Bliss. So Nagarjuna is quite a legendary figure. He seems to have appeared in different periods of time, although it's quite possible there was more than one Nagarjuna, more than one monk with that name. I think the one thing that is generally acknowledged is that he was the founder of a school known as the Madhyamaka. And its basic teaching, its basic formulation, seems to be identical to the message of the Lankavatara Sutra. There's a quote here given from the Wikipedia article on the Madhyamaka. Whatever is dependently co-arisen, that is explained to be emptiness. That, being a dependent designation, is itself the middle way. So we've got this understanding that everything is dependent on everything else. Everything is codependent. And this is often taken by modern people to be a rationale for our ecological concerns and for looking after the planet, because we're all interdependent. So that's fine in itself, but that's not the implication, spiritually speaking. The implication is because everything is codependent or interdependent, things have no intrinsic substance. Everything takes its cue for its arising from something else, not from any intrinsic self-nature. This is the real message. This is the real message. According to the Wikipedia article, the Madhyamaka was concerned with this understanding, but it's also concerned with the response to this understanding. If things have no self-nature, what's our response to this? Is it to fall into some kind of nihilism, some kind of negative indifference? The last verse, which I read out there, talks about attaining the stage of joy and going to the land of bliss. So the response isn't one of some kind of depressive catatonia. It's one of a new kind of vibrancy. And there's a vibrancy which can only come from your own innate sense of being, rather than getting caught up in the thoughts of beings that were mentioned in the previous video in verse 162. So this Nagahvaya is generally understood to be Nagarjuna. Nagarjuna was supposed to have received the teachings, the wisdom teachings from Nagaraja, the king of the Nagas. The Nagas are wise serpent beings, like dragons, who very often live at the bottom of the water, underneath the seas. And it's often the Nagas who are credited with keeping these teachings hidden until they were discovered or revealed to latter-day bodhisattvas, particularly in the Tibetan tradition. So Nagarjuna is named after the Nagas, which is what Nagahvaya means, the name of the Naga. So he's the destroyer of the one-sided views based on being and non-being. So we don't get caught up in ideas of selfhood, and we don't get caught up in some kind of nihilism. We come back to the vibrancy and reality of our own being.